degrees south of the equator and halfway between Africa and South America. The island has been described as hell with the fires put out, and my first steps here felt like walking across a landscape on Mars rather than a fragment of Britain. Ascension was discovered by the Portuguese in 1501, but it looked so unpromising they never colonized it. And you can't really blame them. This jagged lava shoreline, pounded by Atlantic surf, wasn't very inviting. But in 1815, the British garrisoned the island. This uninviting speck of land held one big advantage: its strategic position, right in the middle of the Atlantic. It's still an important military base today for the RAF and the US Air Force. Back in the early days of exploration, the other thing passing ships needed was fresh water. The parched slopes of Ascension don't look like an obvious source. But when the Royal Navy garrisoned the island, a regular supply of fresh water was even more vital. Yet there's plenty of fresh water here, in the form of mist, condensed from the moisture-laden winds blowing over the high central peaks. All it took was two free-thinking visitors to invent an unusual solution. Charles Darwin called in here as he traveled the world in the HMS Beagle. Then later, his good friend, the botanist Joseph Hooker, also visited the island. They thought that plants could wring out the water from those clouds. So they persuaded the British government to send all manner of plants to this barren volcano. Well, by the 1850s, the plants started to arrive. They came from Kew, all across Europe, South Africa, and as far afield as Argentina. And they were planted on this mountain behind me. Although they don't normally grow together, the plants quickly formed natural-looking layers up the mountain. The first layer on these dry lower slopes is made of these eucalyptus trees from Australia and these succulents and cacti from South America. It's hot and semi-arid. Halfway up, it's much wetter and home to these tropical rainforest trees and bananas from Asia. The upper slopes and the summit of the mountain are much cooler, and they're home to this mossy montane cloud forest. And it's really interesting that you get these three layers. These layers occur on tropical mountains across the world. And the fact that they've developed and stratified like that in such a short time is just nothing short of amazing. Even more amazing, this man-made forest did exactly what Darwin and Hooker hoped it would. Different plant species were selected to trap more and more humidity from the air. This is one of the original ficus trees that Joseph Hooker sent down from Kew over a century and a half ago. And he selected this tree specifically because these highly divided branches and these long aerial roots are all covered in moss, and that dramatically increases the surface area by which the moisture can be trapped. And the results couldn't be more efficient. There's been no rain up on this mountaintop today, but as you can see, the roots are literally dripping with moisture. Yeah, so it is an absolutely extraordinary experiment. And there really is nothing quite like it in the world. Well, they really are. They're coming up to say hello. I think they want to join the world's most exciting classroom.
Well, they officially have. They are here. Oh, that's so cool, Stu. A little bit of the natives.
I hope they don't need my phone. I think we've got an audience, a live donkey audience. So these guys, these donkeys right here, their grandparents and great-grandparents were the very animals that used to carry those barrels of water all the way from the drip point down into the town where the soldiers lived over in that part. With that experiment, this was no longer needed. So the donkeys, I guess, were unemployed and didn't have a job, so they were able to go wild and have roamed around the island ever since. They're very curious. They're looking at my my bag and my notes. I think they're very sweet.